Cobras Weekly. I'm your host, Brian Schmidt. On today's show, we will talk with defensive coordinator Josh Resignalo about the Saturday's 55-29 loss to Jacksonville. Then we'll switch gears a little bit and we'll talk about the 6-3 season so far, going into the final bye week of the regular season. Our player spotlight, we will talk with wide receiver, number 11, Levon Pearson. Then we're going to talk about bye week and we're going to learn a little bit more about defensive coordinator Coach Rez. All this and more on Cobras Weekly.
Miranda Lambert, the Roadside Bars and Pink Guitars Tour. Saturday, November 23rd at Greensboro Coliseum. The record-breaking award winner, Miranda Lambert. One of country music's most beloved. Very special guest, Maren Morris. Also featuring Fistulanis. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. before the general public Friday morning at 10 at LiveNation.com.
Many are mediocre, but only few are excellent.
Ring of Honor, Saturday at 11 on My 48. Don't miss all the action. My 48 is my place for sports.
National Arena League champions, the Carolina Cobra.
Welcome back, and joining me this week in the absence of Billy Back, defensive coordinator, better known to all of us as Coach Rez. Coach, welcome, man.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Man, short notice, I had to get you on the show.
Yeah, it's thankful for you guys to have the opportunity to have me on.
All right, so we got to talk about this game that not going to be an joyous conversation, but 55-29 loss to Jacksonville.
Yep.
First half, there were some real opportunities. There was an opportunity to actually be up 28-19 at halftime. Second half, great defensive stop coming out of the half. Score, another defensive stop. And then we all jumped off the cliff.
Right.
What happened? Talk about the game from your perspective, offensively, defensively.
Yeah, so we started off the game hot. I thought we were going to have a very good night, out the gate. Starting
15-2.
15-2, exactly. And just the way that things fell, we had a couple of bad plays on the defensive side where we had got a stop on 4th down, 4th and 3, and ended up having a legal defense. And then we had another opportunity where we picked the ball off for an interception, ran it all the way back. I think we got tackled inside the 1, almost a pick 6. But then we had roughing the passer penalty, so that put us in a bad spot. So. I think we gave up a touchdown right before the half on a reverse play, which we've been having issues with through the last few weeks that we've been talking about over and over.
Yes.
And, then we made some adjustments. We came out in the second half, and we made some stops. We just couldn't, get out of our own way. We couldn't capitalize on some of the turnovers and whatnot. So we just, we ended up not being able to keep them out the end zone.
Well, let's talk about offensively, especially in the second half. Things were going well, well in the first half. It wasn't great, but it was going well.
Mm-hmm.
Started off second half going well, and then it just seemed like you said, couldn't get out of our own way.
Mm-hmm.
Turnovers. What happened? I mean, that's going to be the biggest question. What happened?
Yeah, I can't really answer that of what happened. But what I can say is from what I've seen, with arena football is once things snowball, like it snowballs. And an easy pick where Chuck was going to throw it out of bounds, and sideways pass ended up being a backwards pass, and it's one of those moments. Being an offensive guy myself, and from a play calling standpoint, I know, Coach Back was in his mind of what in the world,
Right.
Once you get in that situation, it's just hard to get out of, and it was just one mistake after another mistake, and we couldn't protect Chuck. He was getting hit sometimes, at one step drop, and he's on the ground. So it was just multiple things. I think Jacksonville always does a great job. Fuller does a great job with the defensive side, but there are some opportunities that we got to be able to capitalize as a whole from the defense, offense, and special teams. Special teams, we didn't get a whole lot from special teams either, so that put us in a bad spot.
Defensively, which is always near and dear to our hearts, it just seemed like we got some turnovers, but we also had situations where we had turnovers and then had really untimely penalties. Talk a little bit about your expectations going into the game, what you saw now coming out of this. What do you expect to get better from a defensive standpoint?
Well, just a couple of things like the penalties after the fact of the roughing the passer penalty. I think it was a little ticky-tack with barely touching the quarterback. They're going to protect the quarterback regardless. So it's just we got to learn from those moments that when the ball's gone, you just got to let it go. And you just can't keep continuing. And we want our guys to be aggressive, but at some point you got to be smart and be able to pull back and be disciplined of when and when not to, continue to play.
All right. Well, hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about the 6-3 season so far. We're going into a bye week, and the biggest thing is we want to talk about the positives of where we're at and where we're going. So when we come back, me and Coach Rez are going to talk about the season as a whole so far. So stay tuned.
Many are mediocre, but only few are excellent.
Ring of Honor, Saturday at 11 on My 48. Don't miss all the action. My 48 is my place for sports.
When we step into the arena, we are not there just for the sport. We are there to become champions. When we stand firm on the turf, we assess our plans. And when we run into the battle, not away from it. We are the 2018 NAL champions. We are your Carolina Cobras.
Miranda Lambert, the Roadside Bars and Pink Guitars Tour. Saturday, November 23rd at Greensboro Coliseum. The record-breaking award winner, Miranda Lambert. One of country music's most beloved. Very special guest, Maren Morris. Also featuring Pistol Annies. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. before the general public Friday morning at 10 at livenation.com.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk a little bit about 6-3 season we have so far. Coach, let's kind of dissect this offense, defense, special teams through the first 9 games. All right, we're on our final bye week. So when we come out of this bye week, it's the home stretch.
Absolutely.
Offensively, we've had our struggles at times, but we've seemingly started to pick it up. Talk a little bit about what you've seen offensively and where we were, where we're at, and where we're going to be.
I think from an offensive standpoint, I think we've been trying to find our identity of who's going to be the playmakers, who we're trying to get the ball to. Through the first few weeks of the season, we struggled a little bit on offense, to say the least. So I think the biggest part was putting the right pieces into place. And that's just how it is with any team, especially when you lose a lot like we lost to the AFL. How are you going to replace some of those guys? And when you bring in guys that don't have a lot of experience, putting them in the right positions for them to make plays has been the key for us. But we struggled a little bit. I think it was 2 weeks ago, I want to say, when we started clicking a little bit on offense, adding Pearson and whatnot and getting him in the mix with Jolly. Priester's kind of coming into his place. Prince, adding him with his little bit of speed. Pretty much right now is like the group that we're looking at. But then we hit the roadblock against Jacksonville, and it looks like, we were back to square one again. So it's just a matter of trying to find, that's where our inconsistencies are, as far as trying to put the right puzzles together to make it happen.
Offensively, it seems like there's also been some issues as far as the offensive line. Talk a little bit about that and what we're looking for going forward as far as addressing those issues.
I think the biggest thing is to be able to not let guys run free. It's okay if you're blocking a guy for a little bit and then he comes off because that's just the development of the play. But to get beat right on the snap, is a difference maker from a defensive standpoint. I mean, the defensive line for Jacksonville is pretty good, but they're not one step good. So we got to figure out how to put the right guys into place, and we're going to have to bring in some more O-linemen. It hurt losing Joe Lewis Joe Harris with his ankle, with his foot. And then Chad has been in and out of the mix, and he was sick this past week. So we definitely got to bring in some O-linemen. That's another part of our job as coaches, as the recruitment process.
Never ends.
No, so we're working out some guys. We're looking at some pieces. Bye week couldn't have came at a better time for us to be able to try to put the right pieces in place, and we'll see where we go for this stretch.
Near and dear to our hearts, defense. The defense overall has been the strength of the team.
Absolutely.
Has played very well. Talk a little bit about how the defense has played, but also this defense is nowhere near where you want it to be. So talk a little bit about how they've played and your expectations moving forward.
I think the part that I'm happy with for the most part is our aggressiveness. We're pretty aggressive. We get after it. We fly around. We have to tighten some things up with the tackling in, wrapping up. Guys just want to roll through people, and they get paid just like we do. So you got to wrap up. But I think overall, us being both offensive guys, we understand what the offense is trying to do, creating the triangles of the field, of always having an offensive player in that position. On the defensive side, we know what the offense is doing, so we're trying to put guys in that place. Right. I think overall for us defensively, once we all click together, I think that's what's holding us back right now. We're not playing as one, so to speak. Got some great players on the defensive side, but once we put it together, I think we're going to be even that much better.
You've also had some key injuries defensively. Obviously, Walter Thomas, huge injury. But you've also had DBs with various injuries. I mean, Dante Holmes, who was one of this, legitimately, he was rookie of the year last year in the NAL, second best defensive lineman in the league, comes in and at the end of practice breaks his toe. He still played, had a great game. We've had DBs that are banged up. Again, the bye week can't come at a better time. But certainly you haven't, it's not like you've not had obstacles defensively, and yet you've still been able to maintain a fairly consistent defense.
Well, you just have to find a way. When you're trying to make something happen, you got to dig deep and you got to figure it out. Like you speak on Holmes' toe, there's a lot of guys that wouldn't have played that game. There's a lot of guys that would just sat out with a broken toe. I mean, you hear you guys sitting out with turf toe, which is your bruisedness of a toe. I mean, his toe is fractured, and so it's kind of treated as a turf toe. So it's a matter of taping it and what he can, his pain tolerance, so to speak, to keep it moving is pretty much where we're at. And he had a pretty decent game for his first game with us. So I'm anxious to see how he is with 100% healthy.
100% healthy.
It's devastating to lose Walter. Walt Thomas. He's a big anchor for us on our D-line. Yeah. So to have him not a part of that is tough. But at the end of the day, we got to find a way to regroup, adapt, and keep it moving. And that's what we got to do.
Special teams, real quickly, the kicker situation. We started the year with Nick Belcher. Inconsistent. On again, off again, on again. And then we bring in, Brandon Rutherford, who first couple games, extra points, field goals, hit a couple deuces in New York. Certainly seems like now we've kind of found that consistent kicker.
Yeah, so consistency is all that you look for in a kicker, right? Especially when it comes to that.
best wrestling on the planet. Ring of Honor Wrestling, creating excellence every week.
Saturday at 11 on My 48.
Miranda Lambert, the Roadside Bars and Pink Guitars Tour. Saturday, November 23rd at Greensboro Coliseum. The record-breaking award winner, Miranda Lambert. One of country music's most beloved. Very special guest, Marion Morris. Also featuring Pistol Annies. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. before the general public Friday morning at 10 at livenation.com.
Many are mediocre, but only few are excellent.
Ring of Honor, Saturday at 11 on My 48. Don't miss all the action. My 48 is my place for sports.
Our Carolina Cobras player segment today, we're joined by wide receiver number 11, Levon Pearson. Levon, welcome to the show.
How you doing? How you doing today?
Doing good. Hey, talk a little bit about your college career. Where'd you go to college?
I went to college at Tennessee, but before then, I got a phone call from one of my friends. Told me to come to JUCO, Junior College in Northern California. So I decided to go there with him. I had 2 great years in junior college and then had offers from like everywhere in the country, but I decided to go to Tennessee, which was like close to home to me, so that's where I went to.
Nice.
Go Vols.
So last year, you played for the Massachusetts Pirates, and I know this well because I had to deal with you on a consistent basis. Talk about your year you had last year. You had a huge year.
Yeah, my first year at Arena Ball was last year. I had a great year. I mean, the quarterback loved me. I mean, like I was his go-to guy, I felt like. And I just went after it, man. Every ball that was in the air, I wanted it. I was coming down with all 50-50 balls. That was all mine. So, I mean, I just wanted it last year.
Well, then you started at Massachusetts this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we made a trade for you, and you've come here, and it's been a huge addition in the time you've been here. Talk about the difference between Massachusetts and here, and why you've come in and just really, quite honestly, you've been dominant since you've been here.
I actually, before I was at Massachusetts, I actually talked to Chuck and Squally all the time, and I wanted to come here. It's closer to home, and I just felt like they wanted me here. So coming here, I mean, I just want to be a big playmaker, help the team out, and get to another championship.
Oh. Coach, he certainly has been a big part of everything since he's gotten here. Talk a little bit about, on the defensive side, when you're having to deal with him in practice.
Yeah, it's the same mindset, we faced in the first 2 weeks of the season. And, he was a part of what we were trying to stop, him and Brown. And we did a pretty good job of that the first couple of weeks. I joked with him when he first got here.
Yeah.
Now, at least you're going to be able to run some routes and get open now. So, but since he stepped in day one, I mean, he's been an impact for us production-wise. Billy's all about producing, and he's done that from day one. Practice is great for our guys to see a high-caliber receiver like Pearson himself to actually make plays in practice and just give our guys a good look. We're going to see the best in practice. We're going to be prepared on game day. So he's helped us. He's helped the team tremendously, not just the offense.
Now, one thing that I've heard, and I know Chuck's work ethic.
Yeah.
And one thing I've heard is you've got a pretty big-time work ethic as well. Talk a little bit about
just like Coach
off time.
Just like Coach Red said, I mean, I hit the gym hard, and I make sure I give my defensive players looks. I feel like I'm the top receiver in the league, so if they guarded me in practice and I'm going hard for them, that means they can guard anybody in the league. So just me going hard off the field just helps our defense better in the long run.
Absolutely. What's it like playing for Chuck? Because I've known Chuck for many years, and I know this was a big deal for you. So talk a little bit about playing with Chuck.
Chuck he's different, man. He one thing about him, he loves to win. He wants to win, and I actually wanted to play with him because I seen he has like one of the quickest releases in the league. So just getting balls thrown from him is just like this was what I wanted. It's what I wanted, and as a player, I like Chuck. Man, he's a hard worker too. So I mean, it just rubs off on us as an offense.
What's it like playing with Jolly?
Man, it's to be honest, Jolly lost a lot of weight, man. Shout out to Jolly.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, he looked way faster than he did last year. So I always like give him positive feedback. Let him know, man, keep working, man. You looking fast out there, man. Keep doing what you're doing. So I mean, I love playing around Jolly. He's a big playmaker too.
All right. Well, hey, appreciate you coming to the show.
No problem. No problem.
All right. When we come back, we're going to finish up and have a little conversation with Coach Rez. So stay tuned.
Many are mediocre, but only few are excellent.
Ring of Honor, Saturday at 11 on My 48. Don't miss all the action. My 48 is my place for sports.
Miranda Lambert, the Roadside Bars and Pink Guitars Tour. Saturday, November 23rd at Greensboro Coliseum. The record-breaking award winner, Miranda Lambert. One of country music's most beloved. Very special guest, Maren Morris. Also featuring Pistol Annies. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. before the general public Friday morning at 10 at livenation.com.
All right, welcome back. And Coach, let's talk a little bit about the bye week and what it means to the team right now and what do we do on a bye week? So, I mean, first of all, as you said earlier, this bye week could not have come at a most perfect time. Talk a little bit about what that means for us right now in terms of healing, injuries, getting some rest, things like that.
Time. It gives us time for the guys to rehab. Some guys that are banged up, be able to go see our training staff, which they do a great job of getting guys back on their feet and getting them back to 100%. Some guys that actually have some injuries that can use this time off, this extra time. We still got to get some work in. We still got to figure out a way to. We're 6-3, but we're not where we want to be as a team. So offensive guys watched film yesterday. We watched film with the defensive guys today. So just taking advantage of the extra time to prepare for Orlando. I mean, there's nothing else on our mind right now except for Orlando. Mm-hmm. I think we kind of slipped up with that the last time we played Orlando, with them coming in at 1-5, expecting to be pretty cakewalk, and we got a rude awakening for that. Obviously, losing for the first time in the Coliseum for probably like a calendar year. So that was big. So just putting all that together, Coach Beck does a great job of holding the guys accountable, of creating the bar for us to be where he wants, where his expectations. We just gotta rally and try to meet that mark for him.
Absolutely, and we'll talk more about Orlando next week as we get closer to the game, but I want to spend the rest of the time. I want to talk about you. We've known each other for a lot of years.
Long time.
And I think for the people that are watching, and who is Coach Rez? You've been doing this for a long time. Talk a little bit about you and your family and about your coaching career and just things about you, because a lot of people don't know. You've been doing this a long time, mm-hmm. and also a former Marine, and, mm-hmm. and you've done everything. So talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm a Marine. That's the first thing that I'm most proud of. That was a huge accomplishment for me, for my life. We're all knuckleheads and we're coming along and think we know it all, and so that making that step to go the military route for me was huge for where I am today. When you spoke about my family, my wife of 15 years, she's my rock. She's my best friend. I couldn't do this without her. There's only two types of coaches' wives. You either are one or you're not, and she's definitely a coach's wife. I have two children, 14-year-old daughter, and my son just turned 7. So we stay busy on that side. So you have to have a lot of support, from your family to do what we do. So this is only my third time in North Carolina coaching, to be able to be close to my family. Everywhere else has been on the road. I mean, you name it. You and I have both been in every alphabet league there is. Yes. To be able to have that stability, to be able to be close to home, it helps out with a lot of stuff. So being my 13th season overall from playing and coaching, I've been general manager, head coach, OC, DC, you name it. We're coaches, so we're going to do what we need to do. So I'm an offensive guy. I love the offense. I love scoring. I'm an air raid guy outside, so that just fits the arena style a lot like yourself. I mean, we love to sling the ball around. So to be the defensive side, it allows me to, with my mentality, that's just who I am. That's the Marine side. I like to be aggressive. Can't really do that all the time on the offensive side. So you got to find that tameness of where you got to be calm, cool, calm, and collective, just like we tell our quarterbacks. But on the defensive side, you will the guys to play, and you just get after it. That's why you want to be aggressive.
Well, we've known each other for years, so it's been fun actually, all of us being here together. So, man, I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me.
All right. Well, hey, let's keep this thing going. Let's win this championship.
No doubt.
All right. Next week, we're going to do a little special show, talk a little bit about the inner workings of the front office and things like that. And then we're also going to talk about the big game in Orlando. I want to thank everybody for coming and joining us, and we will see you next week.